Look at him, eating whatever he wants, never gaining a pound, while I'm stuck with the boring special and can't lose an ounce.
How's your lunch, man?
Amazing. Yours?
So good.
Oh, I'm so happy for you.
Cool, buddy.
Weight loss isn't fair, but Mochi Health is. The affordable GLP-1 source that can fix your frustration with food.
So, same time next week?
No!
Definitely.
And your friends. Learn more at joinmochi.com. Mochi members have access to licensed physicians and nutritionists. Results may vary.
You know that thing where you get an amazing pair of shoes at a really great price and want to tell everyone about it? Yeah, so do we. Here at Designer Shoe Warehouse, we'll give you something to brag about. Like the latest styles from brands you love, or the trends everyone's obsessing over, or shoes that make you feel like, well, you. So go ahead, show off a little. Find shoes that get you at prices that get your budget. Head to your DSW store or DSW.com today. DSW, let us surprise you.
All right. On today's podcast, we have a really special guest, and this is someone we've known for 8 years, ever since we started this case. Her name is, at the time, it was Cady Savage. Now she's recently married and has a nice family, and she's really improved herself. Now she's Cady Dominguez. And anybody who knows about Cady Savage knows that, who's been following this case, she was Colt's girlfriend before Molly. And she also is the mother of Colt's son, Jagger. It's been it's a very powerful podcast, and she's very revealing about her thoughts about the remains. And
it goes a little bit deeper too, because Cady dated Conn for several years before she met Colt. So there's a lot of history there, and she knows Colt and Conn, very well, and has a lot of things to say about why they were together and why this happened or potentially happened and what a motive could have been, but also the aftermath and what she's had to go through, it's really inspiring. And she's an amazing person. And we're so grateful that she shared her story with us.
And she's been quiet this whole time. She has lived her life. She's been raising her son and her other children and her family. And she's been doing really well. And so we're very honored that she came on today and to kind of discuss all of this, discuss of the case, discuss the human remains found, the fact that they ID'd it as Colt. And she's going to talk about that right now. So
stay tuned.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, good for you, Cady. That's amazing. That's amazing. You've done so much since we last saw you.
I know. It's been like 8 years.
I know. So I have an 8-year-old now, my little girl. She is my best friend, my twin. I have my 9-year-old boy, and he is my soccer fishing fan. He probably woke up talking about fishing this morning. He is, but I am able to homeschool him, and we have the best days ever. He is the best kid ever. He has some learning disabilities, so the fact that I'm able to stay home with him and just really one-on-one with him, I love that. Jagger is 13 now. He'll be 14 this year.
Wow.
I know. He is the absolute best kid. I know I say this every time I probably talk to y'all because he has not changed in life. He is the best kid. Usually all A's. He'll sneak a B in there sometimes, but he works hard to get that back up. He's big in the sports. He's on the church team, leadership team. So he is, I couldn't have built a better kid. And me and my husband all the time, he didn't know Colts, but he actually went to school with Conn, who I'm married to now. He went to school with him. And so we look at Jagger all the time and we're like, it's so amazing that something so good as him come from something. So, no one would have ever thought that me and Colt would have had a successful kid like this. So
God bless you.
That's amazing, yes, Cady. I'm so happy for you.
It's just,
I'm really, really happy to hear all of this because, okay, let's go back for a second so everyone can know the story and understand who you are and how important it is that you're talking to us, because this has been 8 years. We met you 8 years ago. We met Cady 8 years ago when we were doing the TV show for Up and Vanished. And it was a difficult time
Mhm.
to do that show, and it was before you got married to your husband now, and
Yes.
it was emotional, and I remember us crying and talking about this stuff, and it was a hard story to hear
Yes.
from you. So
You're actually going to get to hear our town train come through. So if it gets loud at times, I'm sorry, but
that's
That's okay.
Don't worry. So tell us a bit about your background with living in that town with Conn, with Colt, how you're connected to them.
so I'm glad y'all asked because so many people that don't know my backstory and they come up, I don't think that's the train. I don't think they realize so many people, I think they just think that I'm Colt's kid's mother. And it started way before Colt. I grew up in this town. I grew up in Marietta. I had actually was a wild teen, and I had met Conn partying just around here before I had actually taken off to California. Left out of town, didn't tell my parents bye, left out. This whole time I was in California, Conn would call me, and he'd call me his California girlfriend. And he
How old were
was
you?
I was 18, 19 probably. I think it was summer of '09. He would call me his California girlfriend, all this sweet talking. I actually ended up coming back quickly from California. Within, I think I was out there a month, maybe. As soon as I got back, of course, me and him was still in contact, and I started hanging out with him. And at first, I'm not even going to say it was normal because we started off, we wasn't doing we start off, it wasn't a healthy relationship. So it wasn't even like, oh, it transitioned from this to this to this. It was like you already entered in something toxic and it just grew from there. So me and Conn started dating, I would say '09. And that was never, probably to hear him say it at times was never solid. I feel like I was blinded because he was out living the drug life and talking to all other types of girls. And here I was thinking that I was the only girl he was talking to. So I feel like the relationship at times to me was probably more than what it was to his drug self. But there was a solid 2 years there. I lived down Long Hollow with him. I lived out there. I actually ended up getting pregnant by him during some of the worst drug use and abuse times that I was down around that time. I have heard that his drug use grew once I left, growing from meth to heroin. So I didn't see that part of him. But I mean, I saw the worst of the worst to what I felt like the worst of the worst. Ended up getting pregnant. During that whole pregnancy, I was beat bad. I ended up, the night that I took off from there, I actually ended up, and I've told my husband this so many times, I wish there was a way that I could pull records because I called Love County back in '09, and I called them when I got off of Long Hollow Road. I had just taken a severe beating. I'd got in my truck, I'd got away. He told me he was coming after me. So I called dispatch 911 as soon as I got off Long Hollow. And I had them stay on the phone with me until I got far enough away from his headlights. So I'm wanting to say probably from Long Hollow to right after Eastman Road. And I told them, I'm coming here. I just passed Long Hollow. I am coming to y'all. I want you to know I'm coming to y'all. And I went straight there and pressed a report that night that's the only report I ever pressed on him. And I'm very upset that that report was not followed through, which I feel on part because they asked me when I pressed the report that night, do I want to go to the hospital? I knew what would happen if I went further with it. So what I did that next week, I went to the doctor, my baby doctor in Ardmore. And she didn't have a heartbeat, or there was a slight heartbeat, but there was so much fluid around her. They said she had what was called Turner syndrome, but her head had almost fused to her shoulders. And I really fully believe that was part of the abuse because when Conn we would get in our fights, I got hit in the head all the time, but I would carry bruising on my body. It was never facial. It was always I had phones broken over my head. I had all that. But it was
Oh.
never, it was like he knew not to touch here, even though he would cover every other part of me in bruises.
Oh, Katie.
So actually, me and Conn, I didn't leave him even after I lost the baby. I was so, I don't even know if I was lost, I don't know what it was. There was drug use, there was all that. It was just a bad time in my life. I mean, I don't wish it on anybody. And for me to bounce back from that to be this today, I'm
It's
so proud of it.
amazing. Katie,
Yes.
I'm so proud of you. It's just such an amazing thing what you've done with your life and turned it around like this. It's so inspiring. And I just think you're an amazing person. I really do. So many women get abused, and there's so much domestic violence in the world, and it breaks women. It really does. It breaks them
Yes.
down. And you look how strong you are. I mean, you're just
Yes.
amazing to me.
Yes.
Um,
Thank you.
so
And so carrying on, times started getting worse. Like I said, my memory is absolutely horrible from over the years. I don't know if it's trauma loss. I don't know if it's from concussions. But it's so a lot of these parts are hit and miss for me. But me and Conn got gradually worse. But it become a point where I was sick of it. We had gotten pulled over in Ardmore. I'd taken charges for him. I was just sick of it. I was like, there's no way that this can be the life I want in 20 years. So we were on our way to Ardmore one day, and he was just on me, on me, on me. It's still to this day, I don't know how I got brave enough, but I kicked him out at a gas station in Ardmore. And from that gas station, I actually went to his cousin's house, which she is Erica Nipp, who has kids with Colt's brother, Dub. So from there, we went and picked up Colt. And we were going to pick up Dub that day from, if I remember right, it was up around Elk City, and he worked at an oil field location, and we were going to go pick him up. We had one other friend with us. So that was my first time meeting Colt.
do you remember when that was, or how old you were?
Let's see. So Jagger was born in 2012 of October. So that would have been right around probably September of 2011. Because I want to say that me and Cole, we ran around probably 2 or 3 months before I got pregnant. But I don't know if it was mom instinct or what. 2 weeks before I got pregnant, or that I found out I was pregnant, I stopped all drug use. And I had access to full whatever I wanted. But I was waking up and getting sick. And I was like, I didn't think I was pregnant at that time. I just thought that I was sick with something I knew I couldn't use. So I stopped. 2 weeks later, I found out I was pregnant, and I had waited for that chance. So there was no way I was messing that up. But yeah, the whole time being pregnant, Colt was a protector of me. He did not like Conn. Colt was never, that's what I've always told everybody also. Conn was violent. Colt was never violent. Colt was not a violent person at all. So there's not even comparison there of those two. I always try to stop and let people know, like, Conn in the world and Colt are two different people. It wasn't like they were buddies hanging out. I think I've always spoke with Cindy. I felt like this was more of a retaliation than anything. I have heard just from living in Marietta over the years that Conn was so high that he thought that he had me and Colt in the car. Conn actually called me. I wish I could remember the exact date on this. I did call Ronnie Hampton right after I got off the phone with him that next morning. But I was living in Ardmore, and I remember a phone call after this had all happened. I would probably say around 6 months. A phone number showing up, and I recognized that phone number, but I didn't answer it. It was like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. I had Jagger asleep beside me. There was no reason I needed to answer a phone call coming in that time of the night. I woke up the next morning, I was feeding Jagger, and I remember that phone number called me. So I went to call it back, and as I was calling it back, it clicked whose number it was as I answered, and it was Conn's. And he said, hello. And I said, hello, why did you call me? And he said, I don't know. He said, I was with a friend last night, he said, I'm going to slap the piss out of him. He named the friend's name. He said, I'm going to slap the piss out of him when I see him. But he had actually said, don't hang up, don't hang up. And I said, why did you call me? And then that's when he said, and I said, you took my kid's father from me. And he said, I know, don't hang up. And I said, no, I'm hanging up and I'm calling Ronnie Hampton. Called Ronnie Hampton right away. Like,
And
hang
Ronnie
up,
Hampton, for people that don't know, is with the Oklahoma Highway Patrol, and he's
right.
a
He was the highway
wonderful,
patrol over the
wonderful
case
man.
at the time. Yes. And Ronnie told me, he said, Cady, he said, I hate to tell you this, but I've had surveillance on him. He hasn't been around any friends. And I had just actually changed my phone number. So he had called me. He had got this new number. I was like, how did he get all this? He's like, Kate, I have no answers for you. And I was like, this is, and I was like, he admitted, of course I knew. I didn't have any recording on my phone. Him saying, I know. I wish that could put someone away, but we know it's not that easy.
Mhm.
So that kind of was a reassurance to me. I don't know if he called me that night to hear my voice as like, let me make sure that I didn't take her out, is almost where I question, like he wanted to hear my voice to make sure I was still here and he got the wrong one. Or I don't know if he called to talk, I don't know. I've always questioned that. I'll always carry the burden. Conn and Colt might have met up in the world, but if I would have never been involved, I mean, it's Carter and Love County. They already knew each other. Of course, they might have been friends, but I don't feel like they would have met up under the circumstances of how bad Conn probably hated Colt for getting to be with me, having a kid with me, and there's so many unanswered. Like I told Cindy, I'd love to sit down with him, but I don't know if he would make it that much worse. I don't know if he would open up to me, or I don't know if he'd laugh at my face. And the way that family has carried on over the years, not caring about me, pretty much laughing in my face, has been
Which family? The Nipp family you're talking
the
about?
Nipp family, yes. I live here in town. Conn got a job at the tire shop. Walking distance, it says it would take 2 minutes from my house is how close he was working to me. I knew he was working in town. I was taking a different route to where I wasn't even driving by that way on the way home. One day I slipped up, and after my son's soccer practice, there was a chocolate food truck here in town. And usually we go after dinner. And I was like, no, dinner's already done. I'd already cooked dinner. And I was like, I'm going to go ahead and stop now. If they eat the chocolate before dinner, I don't care, but we're not getting out anymore. So I stopped, and I was standing outside with my daughter, and I heard a whistle. And when I tell you I heard a whistle, it instantly caught my attention. I turned, and it was Conn Nipp sitting there whistling from across the gas station at me. I have, of course, I told Cindy the other day, I have TikTok. I've never posted or been active that way. I have it just to look at stuff, but it does show me when people view my profile, and he has actively viewed my profile within the past month. It come up as Coon Dog viewed your profile. That's, I guess, the name that he goes by on there. I have 17 profiles of his blocked on Facebook.
Wow, 17.
17 different profiles, between some with him and his ex-wife's joint profiles, but some are his too. I just feel like it's been ongoing. Nothing's been done. So, just my business right here where I work, I wish I could count on a show of two hands how many times I've looked up and Jennifer Nipp's been sitting outside at the business, using the business next door to me. And there's
Why do
plenty
you
of
think? Why do you think they do those things? I mean, why? I mean, when I was there, he put a laser on my head. It's like he likes to taunt people.
He's got away with it, and that's the type of person he is. He loves taunting. He loves feeling like the bigger person. He's always got away with it in this town. I mean, for someone to get away with this like he has, he thinks he's literally invincible, I'm sure.
So let me just back up. So
Yeah,
you're pretty convinced that Conn had something to do with Colt's and Molly's death.
Nothing will ever change. Nothing will ever change my mind. I've stood on that since day one. I will always stand on that. If Conn didn't do it himself, he stood there and watched, and I'm sure he stood there and watched out of joy because. And people say, "Oh, there's just not that type of crooked and evil." No, there is that type of crooked and evil in this world, and Conn Nipp's one of them. And so I know. I told Cindy the other day, the thing I hate more than anything is I know that Colt hated Conn, and I hate that he lost to him. And I know that those last few seconds of his life or whatever, he was so ashamed of himself, I'm sure, for going down to Conn. So, but there's been so many rumors over the years. Most recent rumor is Colt's brother Jesse, that he did it. And I'm just, even from that very get-go, that rumor, I'm like, y'all don't understand. Long Hollow Road and the Nipps are not, hey, come here, we got someone. They're not welcoming people. If you were to go on that road, you were going on that road for one reason and you got off. It wasn't you go to hang out. You go to, they're a buddy system. It's a hangout spot. No, you wasn't. If you're not welcome on that road, you stay the hell off that road.
My question about Jesse is that if let's just say, because we don't know what happened, right? Let's just hypothetically say, if Jesse had something to do with this, would Conn Nipp and the rest of them hide that?
No, I really don't feel like it. I really don't feel like it. It's just all left me so puzzled. You know, we went through, 12, 13 years of so many rumors. The guts that people have to walk up to my face and say, hey, I heard this. Hey, they were in Wichita Falls. I heard they ran off to Wichita Falls. And that one got me from the get-go because when Colt was living with me and my parents, my dad had actually got Colt a job at Hudson's Tire in Ardmore. So my parents live 3 miles from Oswald Road. So he would get on the exit at Oswald, Colt would, to travel to work to get off the exit at Ardmore. We're talking 15 minutes down one interstate, one exit. He couldn't even find his way there. He didn't even know. And so I'm like, how do y'all people expect him to get to Wichita Falls and to live a carried out life over there when he can't even make it down the road from Love County to Carter County? I mean, and he grew up here. But people, I guess people don't realize the type of life, shut off life that some people live. You know, some people just don't get out and explore the world. My parents, we've traveled. I mean, traveling is nothing, but to people like Colt who literally live in a town their whole life with no vacations, no outings, no nothing, you don't know everywhere like everybody else. And that was not Colt's strong point, was directions by any means. So I'd actually just the other day heard someone say, well, do you not feel like he just ran away and if he just popped up one day? And I was like, no, like that has never been an option to me. I wish that would have been an option. I wish that would have been an option that I could have held on to. But unfortunately, I know the evil of Conn firsthand, and I've always felt wholeheartedly that it was him. I don't think it was done alone. I think there's a whole connection of people that probably know what was done. And I can't wait to watch everybody go down. It's going to be a good day.
Going back for a second, you showed me a picture of you and what you look like at the time that this happened with Molly and Colt. And it gave me the chills because you and Molly look so similar. You guys look very similar. And he had only met Molly a couple of weeks before this happened. Everybody was confused when they're reaching out to us and saying, well, you know, Conn and Colt were fighting over Molly. I'm like, but they only knew each other for like a few weeks. I don't believe that that's what happened.
No,
but when I looked at, go ahead.
To my knowledge, before Molly, I had actually heard that Colt was seeing other girls. So it wasn't like Molly had been this solid girl by any means. But no, I'm right there with you. It had just freshly started.
It had just freshly started. She was really young. And looking at that picture of the two of you, you gave me your theory about what you thought was going through Conn's head in that car. So kind of tell us a little bit about that.
So the pictures I sent, like you said, it gave you the chills. It makes me sick. The resemblance. Me and Molly both had short hair. We had a lip piercing at the time. I mean, for people when they hallucinate on drugs, I don't think, unless you've been there, I mean, it's true hallucinations. And one of the stories that I've heard is that Conn has always thought that he was so high on drugs that night that he thought that he had me and Colt in the car, that he was mistaken Molly for me. Uh, and I'll probably never get over that. I feel awful for her. She was literally wrong place, wrong time. Um, and I'll never feel any different about that. Um, just the and over the years of living in this town, until, like I told you yesterday, Cindy, everybody said, you know, I'm so glad y'all got closure. I'm so glad y'all got closure. I'm so glad Molly's family got closure. I'm so glad Coates' family got closure. I'm glad that they can have memorials. But I will never have closure for safety of me or Jagger or my other kids until Conn's behind bars. Ever. Um, and it's been the most mentally draining thing growing up in this town, raising my son in this town, and people still doubting that all
Yeah.
this has happened. You know, there was really people that until but even when the bodies were found, they're like, do you think it was Colt and Molly? And I have looked people in the eyes and been, what if it's not Colt and Molly? There's still two humans that were out on this land for years and years, you know, like where's the heart of those people? Like, no matter how good you think this family is, there, and I want to say there is some Nips that are good. It's not the whole Nip family. It's the direct ones that live down Long Hollow. Um, they're not all that it's cut out to be. And this has really opened my eyes. I probably look too deep into people now. My trust is zero with people.
Yeah, I would imagine.
I don't trust anybody with my kids. We do go to the local parks now. Now since marrying my husband protects me at all costs. We can get out and do family stuff. Actually, talking about my husband, he went to school with Conn, and my husband used to try. I've told a couple people this who know us, they know our story, but my husband used to try to talk to me when me and Conn was dating, it was Conn's senior year of high school, but he was already flaking out and not going. And my husband now, Jesse, would try to talk to me during that. And he had actually found me at Sonic here in Marietta one time, and he pulled up next to me and he was trying to talk to me. And I looked Jesse directly in the eyes and I said, you got to get out of here. Conn's on his way up here to meet me, and he's going to kill you if he catches you talking to me. And me and Jesse still that day were like, thank God that we never, that we met at this time of life, because and thinking back then, did I literally mean it? No, but I knew that evil was there in him. I've just, like I've said, it's been a total whirlwind living
Yeah.
here. The connection of people within this town on each side, knowing each other is
Small
what
town,
just
small town. Let me back up a little bit. I want to talk a little bit about when they first found the remains, because they weren't identified yet. So
right.
can you talk us through how you found out and what was your experience, and then afterwards, what happened after that, after they actually confirmed it?
Right. So Toby Thomas actually reached out to me and was in contact with one of the BIA detectives. His name's Vincent, over the case. And he said that he would like to pass my number along to Vincent, that there was some really good things said about Jagger and how the search was focused on, hey, Colt has a son and let's bring this boy's dad home. And that was, Toby said he really wanted to acknowledge Vincent and giving that credit and give me the chance to speak with Vincent. So pass numbers along. Vincent reached out to me. He told me that the remains were found, and that they would be sent off for testing the DNA. of course, it's just me. I probably needed to ask more questions, but I've always trusted Paula and everybody else that I don't have to go in depth and ask those questions, that they will come to me when the time's needed and right. So I didn't really ask questions. He told me he would be in contact when the remains had been, identified, and he did. But Vincent did point out that during the searches that it was mentioned, Colt did have a son. We're parents out here, half the search team. Let's bring him home to his son. The other day, I was actually called by him when the remains were found, and he told me he called Melissa, Molly's mom, first, Colt's mom second, and the option was given for them to kind of reach out, because I've had no contact with them in 12 years almost with Colt's family. It's been me and Jagger on our own, and they just pretty much told him to reach out to me, that there had been no contact. So that kind of
How'd that make you feel? How'd it make you feel?
It pissed me off.
Eczema is unpredictable, but you can flare less with Ebglyss, a once-monthly treatment for moderate to severe eczema. After an initial 4-month or longer dosing phase, about 4 in 10 people taking Ebglyss achieved itch relief and clear or almost clear skin at 16 weeks. And most of those people maintain skin that's still more clear at 1 year with monthly dosing.
Ebglyss, lebrikizumab LBKZ, a 250 milligram per 2 milliliter injection, is a prescription medicine used to treat adults and children 12 years of age and older who weigh at least 88 pounds or 40 kilograms with moderate to severe eczema, also called atopic dermatitis, that is not well controlled with prescription therapies used on the skin or topicals, or who cannot use topical therapies. Ebglyss can be used with or without topical corticosteroids. Don't use if you're allergic to Ebglyss. Allergic reactions can occur that can be severe. Eye problems can occur. Tell your doctor if you have new or worsening eye problems. You should not receive a live vaccine when treated with Ebglyss. Before starting Ebglyss, tell your doctor if you have a parasitic infection.
Ask your doctor about Ebglyss and visit ebglyss.lilly.com or call 1-800-LILY-RX or 1-800-545-5979.
And I've always been probably too sour over the protection and how Jagger's been done and everything by them, but it upset me. I felt like they could have at least reached, that would have been their kind of get out of jail free card with me. And we could have started on fresh terms, but that wasn't done that way. And hopefully over the years, I can get over that part and move on. I've done everything right by Jagger, and I'm perfectly fine with that. So Jagger didn't even grow up knowing about this. As I've told everybody all along, I did. I kept it from him until the time was right. And we sat him down a couple of years ago, and I don't feel like, yes, this is his dad and stuff, but we have established such a good, our community's been wonderful, our support system's been wonderful with him, that this will affect him, but I feel like we've all been there for him enough that it won't negatively affect him. I feel like he will have a story. One of the big things that Vincent wanted me to tell him was his dad wasn't a bad guy. His dad's not anything comparable to Conn Nipp. His dad was simply caught up in drugs. I mean, it's not that he left because he didn't love him. He left because the actions that were done to him. I can't wait for more to come out, because I feel like I'm sitting here in a town where rumors are coming. I'm not even lying, 10 a day. Everybody I come in contact with. I've actually here at work had to cut my clientele because I've had people just coming in just to question, and it gets exhausting. So
they
it's really
come in for
Wow.
they come in for your services just to pump you for information.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
That's horrible.
That's horrible, Cady.
Yes. So, like I said, one day it'll get better.
Yeah.
That's what I told Jagger the other day. I said, I know it's a hot topic right now, but this will all blow over one day, and we will be able to live a normal-ish life. But for now, this is what our story, this is what we're known for. So, and Carter and Love County is so small. He's noticed everywhere. So I feel like I'm on protection guard with him.
Oh,
But
he's such a sweet boy, and you've done such a great job with him.
Thank you.
I think Colt would have been, I mean, anyone would be really proud of the work that you've done with him, and what a great boy he is. Can you
Yes.
tell us a little bit about Colt? I want people to know kind of a little bit more about him, because it kind of gets muddled, because they're like, well, he was hanging out with Conn. Who was Colt? Was he just a drug dealer? You know, who was he when you met him, and how did you feel about him?
Me and Colt, we were a lot the same. He wasn't, like I said, he wasn't a bad guy. He had a good heart. He just didn't know, he didn't have the structure that everybody has growing up, the goals. He didn't know to have the goals to grow in life. But he was a great guy coming out of like that. And that's what I've always told people is Con and Colt are nothing comparable. Colt was good. Colt never laid hands on me. During my pregnancy, he did go to jail a couple times, and he knew that that hurt me. And he was so ashamed of himself for that, but he was so proud. When he was sober, he was so proud of being a dad, having Jagger. He had those goals, but I feel like when me and him didn't work out, and once I knew that he was back in his drug use, I couldn't be with him no more. And I stood stern on being a mom to Jagger, to where he just didn't get to go with Colt. Colt could come see him, but he didn't get to just go with him freely. And I felt like that was kind of a trickling effect to Colt wanting to be so good. I feel like he always wanted to be good, but once he went back to Wilson, started hanging out with friends, drug use again, girls that didn't have, the girls that he was talking to didn't try to set him with goals to grow, to be the dad that he should have been. Just the people that he was around wasn't trying to help him. He quickly backpedaled. And I don't understand it, because I never backpedaled. I've always went forward for Jagger. So, but I know that addiction's real. Some people, no matter how bad they want to overcome it, they don't. And I've always felt that was Colt's deal. He wasn't proud of what he was out doing. And I'll always believe that him and Conn being together was nothing more than a drug deal. It wasn't a friendship. It wasn't, hey, get in the car, we're going to go do this, this, and this. Let's go hang out. Don't ever believe that. I believe it was straight drug dealings. And Conn knew when he got Colt in that car that night that he had ill intentions for that night. I do believe, like, he finally, and it goes back to me thinking also, was he so high at that point he really thought, I got Colt and Cady, like, is this, this is my spot, this is my chance. For him to throw the gravel though on the cop in the high-speed chase, that still blows my mind. For anybody to be brave enough to do that, I'm just mind blown. But as everybody stated, that was nothing for Conn to have the cops chase him. That was nothing. He loved that. He loved it. It was pure enjoyment.
Well, he also got away with it because of his cousin.
Yes. Yes. And that's been another deal being around this town, is I honestly question coming on the podcast, because my safety, we live in town. There's been times in my life to where we have security cameras at my house, but I've listened for cars going by to see if gunfire is going to follow. And I know that might just be me being paranoid, but the other half of me, when I think that, is, it's not me being paranoid. I don't know if Conn meant to carry out something that night, and once he realized he didn't, I'm still out here, and I'm living a good life, and I have a great family, and I've just always prayed that retaliation on me would never carry out that far with him. And as the days get closer to what I hope of him getting arrested, it's just made me even more paranoid. I don't think when the days come, he could surprise me. He could surprise me and go in just easily as can be if the day comes when he's arrested. But I don't think it's going to be like that at all. I think it's going to be a complete showdown for people.
Wow.
Because people ask all the time, what do you think the motive was? What do you think the motive was? And honestly, it just sounds like it was a drug deal gone wrong.
Yes. Yep.
Mixed in with a lot of jealous history.
And a love triangle that he was angry about.
Yes, because I mean, Conn, like I said, I was his first serious girlfriend. I would say as far as length goes. Now he had it was nothing for me to be cheated on by him. It was not a good relationship. How many times I stuck around is sickening. I don't wish anybody to go through that. I don't know if I was young, if it was drug use. I just wanted to be with someone. I don't know what it was. Now looking back, I can't even believe that I was that person. But it's something that's for sure shaken my whole life.
Mm-hmm.
My sons too.
Violence and domestic violence in a relationship, especially when you're young, it can really damage you, and it also can mold you into becoming stronger and more resilient, which I think is what happened here. And
I think so too.
I think it's amazing, how much you've done. And I just remember meeting you,
you look really
8 years
strong
ago.
right now. I'm seeing a light coming from you right now.
And I'm so happy because the first time we met, I could see how you were like shaking. I mean, you were still, even though it had been 5 years since that had happened, it was hard. It's really, really hard. And to raise this boy and to have that memory of Colt, where it was such a short relationship and such a tragedy had happened so quickly. It's a lot. It's a lot.
Yes.
And you were young and you're still young. I mean, look, I do believe that justice is going to come.
I do too. And that's what's said. What's happy, that's bringing happy days now. I don't want to sit here and say, oh, we're so happy. We are happy that the remains were found. But like I said, the happiest day other than my kids being born will be the day that Conn Nipp goes to prison. That will be the standing point of my life, probably.
When you were hearing all these things and all these rumors and all this stuff, I mean, this environment that you were in, I mean, Joe Russell, what was he like when you were living with Conn, and what was that relationship like with Conn and Joe Russell?
Completely, to be honest, I only saw Joe, I want to say every Saturday morning. He came by to get the Nips trash. He was the trash man. But he wasn't around a lot. I don't think when me and Conn was actively being bad and stuff when we were together. And I don't think Joe honestly liked Conn putting him in those situations to where he had to cover for him. So it's not, I never saw Joe and Conn conversating during that time of my life. But it was nothing to see his truck parked outside and him be talking to the grandparents. That was fine. But as far as Joe and him, I think that he was very upset because Conn was running wild. He was called, and it's been nothing, everybody knows that Conn is kin to Joe Russell. But as far as dealings with him, I've always laid low. And it's been, I lived that world, so I know to sit back and be quiet at times. You don't ask. When I was around, you go into places, you keep your head down, you don't ask questions, you don't say nothing, you don't speak. And so I've I feel like carried that on today to where I don't live in fear, but I know to watch my back. I know to watch what I say around certain people. Like I said, I did question coming on here at first. And I've told myself I won't mention certain names and talk certain. I won't be able to freely talk until Conn's locked up. So, and everybody's like, are you scared of Conn? Well, he is the only person in my life that has beat me up, is Conn. He's handed my ass to me many a times. So do I fear him? Yeah, absolutely. I don't want another ass beaten by him. I don't want him to get a hold of my kids. I don't want any type of retaliation. So, like I said, until people start getting locked up, I'll never be able to freely talk or be safe. So what I feel safe.
Is he still in the area now? Because we've getting conflicting reports that he kind of, after the remains were found, he kind of just he at least went away from Long Hollow Road.
So all that I have heard, he hasn't been at the tire shop of what I've seen, because when I spoke to Cindy, I knew pretty much what he was driving. Once he was working at the tire shop, I knew people that would help me keep tabs on him. So I knew what he was driving then. He hasn't been there probably in around 2 months. So now I have no clue. He lives, I made the comment the other day, I wish they lived in town. I wish you could drive by and see the cars at the house, but it's not, you just don't have that access to where they live. So I don't know if he's local. I don't know if he's taken off. I don't know anything. And that, I don't like that part either.
Yeah.
I've mentioned to my eyes, this has made me want to take off. We've talked about when all this happened, me and the kids packing up and going on a vacation. You just never, I don't know the retaliation that's still going to happen. I mean, people have questioned, well, how did they not get to search land, or how did the sheriff let this? I don't know how this has happened, because it blows my mind. It blows my mind, you know, for cops to get away and to be hush hush. And this is really the stuff you see in movies. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we've always said that, you know, it was because you listen to the 911 call, they identified Conn in the 911 call. They knew where he was going, even though they went down those, you know, bad roads, and they didn't want to, Joe said, I didn't want to trash another patrol car or something like that. They knew where he was going. They knew he was going home. So why didn't they just wait until, even if it was like a couple hours later, and just roll up, or the next morning at daybreak and go knock on his door? But none of that happened. In fact, Joe did the opposite. He said that they went to Wichita Falls and kind of even
told the news reporter that they were runaways.
So regardless of what, you know, Joe's role is in there, he failed as a law enforcement officer right then and there.
Yes.
To judge.
Yeah. From the get-go, you know. And
when
I
you
feel like
first
if
heard
that
about
was,
it, I'm sorry.
No, I feel like if that was anybody else, there would have been a total different consequence and carry through with what's happening. If I would have done that, Joe Russell would have been, like you're saying, at my front doorstep the next day. So I don't get to why it wasn't. And then I sat here and I think, was they automatically killed? Was they alive the next day? You know, you sit here and you think about that, and to where they were found, I mean, it's less than 15 minutes from me. And I sit here and I'm like, Jagger's dad has been in this field. I don't want to say buried, open. I don't know exactly the terms on everything yet, but he's literally been there less than 15 miles from me. You know, it's just crazy to think that, like you said, there was no effort, I feel like, put in at first. And no follow through.
Yeah.
I mean, no. I mean, that's the thing. It's like when Gabby Petito went missing, they had the FBI out there in the middle of the desert hunting and found her within 24 hours. You know, I mean, that's what.
And there was 911 calls made, and you know, like there's no follow through, you know.
And that's what I was trying to say. It's like she was 17. There should have been an Amber Alert. There should have been things done. Whether or not she was into drugs or not, that is completely irrelevant. She's a 17-year-old girl. There
should never be a filter to if they're on drugs or not. It's a child. Go find the child.
Exactly. 17-year-old girl. There should have been an Amber Alert. It should have had the same type of horsepower as these other cases.
Yes.
But, you know, it starts with the law enforcement. If they are telling the news that these are runaways, that's what the news is reporting.
And everybody believed it. Everybody, you know, because that's what the news was reporting. Why would they not believe that?
Right.
You know? And so, like you said, for years, it's, oh, well, what if Colt just pops back up? Or what if, and I'm like, that's not it's so frustrating having to answer people to where it's been at the point over the years where I just listen to them I don't even, everybody knows how I feel. It's not even worth, at times I felt like arguing with people because they are, you really see how small minded some people are.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty. I mean, obviously, we've been covering this case for a long time. I mean, and we met you years ago, and it's kind of hard. We rack our brains, but all we can do is look at all of the information that's out there, and everything stems from that night. The chase was, he created a felony chase by enticing the police officers, and
And it
then
wasn't like this was someone who didn't have a record. They
exactly.
knew, we are a small town. They know who he was. I mean, and he created a name for himself in high school. So it's not like this community didn't know. He's been bad. He was bad. He is bad. I don't know why. And then to let him just get away with it.
Yeah.
I'm so thankful that he hasn't hurt someone else since then. That has been a worry of mine. He got away with it. Why wouldn't he if needed?
Well, like you said, like we don't know if he actually, killed Molly and Colt.
Right.
But we believe that he knows more than what he's saying.
Yes. Yes. And there's been plenty of time for anybody to talk over the years. That's where, I've had to talk with people who's been rumored to be part of this case and over the years. And I've told them, I get it, wrong place, wrong time, knowing people and everything. But once again, everybody's had 13 years and I'm at the point where I'm not forgiving no more. There's no forgiving from me. Everybody's had their chance to talk. And for someone to sit back and be quiet all this time because they think that it's just going to go away. I'm so proud of Paula for never hushing up.
I
I'm
was just
so
going to
proud
talk
of
about
her.
that.
Yes, Paula and
She
me.
gets so much slack and so much.
It makes me so mad.
Oh,
It
me
makes
too.
so
I know.
mad because out of everybody in this whole of the Millers or the Haynes, Paula's my person. Paula's who I talk to. Paula has checked on Jagger before. Jagger recently had an accident to where he had to have emergency surgery. Paula checked on him at the hospital. She told us to drive safe down there. Paula is a great person.
She's amazing.
I would have been left in left field for 13 years to all this if it wouldn't have been for Paula. She's always respected me for Jagger's benefit. She's kept me, and I've told her, I'm not one to go digging because I've always trusted Paula to where I could sit back, keep Jagger, raise him without knowing any of this. And when the time's needed, if something's needed to be known, Paula has came to me. So she's kind of gave me a sense of calmness during all this to where I can trust her. She did all the work. She did all the work, I feel like, during this time. She allowed me to sit back and be a mom to Jagger. And it wasn't fair to her to have to go through all this. But there has been at times where I felt, first off, Colt's family could have done more. It shouldn't be me feeling like I could have done more. There could have been so much more help to Paula, but there wasn't. But like I said, she allowed me to step back to be a mom to protect Jagger, and she let me know when things I needed to know, and I've appreciated that over the years.
When you first heard what had happened back in 2013, what was your first initial reaction?
Well, the first story I heard was actually from an Ardmore. Let's see, she was an Ardmore cop at that time. She's a friend. That the Wichita Falls story was the story I first got. That they were in a high-speed chase and they had taken off to Wichita Falls, which I was like, from the get-go, Colt's not going to take off from Jagger. Colt might be out living this wild life, but he is not going to take off from Jagger because at that time, Jagger never got to go with him, but he had got to spend, I was waitressing at the time, and so for Father's Day, he met my parents there and got to spend Father's Day with Jagger at the restaurant where I was waitressing. I had met him at a park in Ardmore to play with Jagger. Like I said, he never got to take him, but the time was there to be spent with him if he wanted. And so the thought of him just running off with just a girl, leaving his son for a girl was not, even though he was living not a good life at that time, I was like, there's no way. And then when I heard that Conn's just hanging back here and it's Colt and Molly supposedly left, I knew from the get-go. I knew from the get-go. I'd always felt when Conn got his chance to act on something, he would, but I never thought it'd be this. I thought he'd beat up Colt, or he would something like that. You know, I thought with me and Colt when we was together, we'd run into him when we was in Wilson or something, and there would have been a fight. I never thought this, but when you put the person with it, and I know the evil behind that person, it was, I don't want to say it was a no-brainer, but I knew that evil was attached to it.
Yeah. What did you think when you found out that, because after a while, looking at the phone records of both Colt and Molly, that they were alive up until that next morning?
Yes.
So, and they were calling a lot of people. Did you get a call?
No, I just got a new number, but I don't know if Colt would have called me at that time, because he knew that I had no tolerance for that type. And if for him to be around Conn would have absolutely been no tolerance,
Okay.
So I don't, like I said, would he have called me in a time of need if I knew that he needed me to be there? Absolutely. I just got the new number. I don't really think he had it memorized, because he had only called me, it was a couple weeks before that, on this new number.
Mhm.
And we were arguing. He wasn't in his right mind. He was with a group
Okay.
of people that I didn't think that he should have been with. And we did argue about that he was around these people. But it's just, when I heard what happened, I don't want to say it was a no-brainer, but I knew that something was not right. Something wasn't good. When I heard of how shut down people was being and how protective people was being, not letting them search, Conn's not cooperating. I knew something was up. So
Why do you think Conn and Colt were together that night or that weekend?
drugs. Only thing. I felt like either Colt had the drugs, Colt knew where to go pick up the drugs. It was told to where they knew where the drugs was. They knew someone with them. I do not, under no circumstance, think that they were just hanging out just to go hang out and use drugs. No, I think that it was a pickup, a sale, something like that. It wasn't a buddy hangout.
Yeah.
So I've never thought that.
So right now you're living your life. You're raising Jagger. You got a beautiful family now. You have a great man who's standing behind you. I mean, that's amazing. And so what's the future for Cady and your family and Jagger? What do you see for you guys?
We're going to stay local. Like I said, I fought moving so many times over the years. I'm just really hopeful that this can let us live a full life after this. I'm not having, my kids don't watch over their back because they've never known anything of this. They don't know violence and evil in this world. So I've never let this affect my kids, but I'm ready as a mom to be able to enjoy life fully with them. Our future as a family, I'm excited. I have a great family. Me and my husband, we've built a good life for my kids. To see each one of them, they're successful in sports, they're great kids, they're good at school. I know that they are going to grow to be wonderful people. And that's what I've always told myself too, is I know Colt would be so proud of the way that I've done with Jagger, of the dad that I've brought into his life now, Jesse. We actually did a name change last year to where Jagger is now legally Jagger Dominguez, and that was what he wanted. So I've brought the most perfect dad in for him that has structured him, and I'm so glad he gets to be raised by this man. Of course, since Colt can't be. It was just, I feel like we've built the best of what we have for the family. But we get told all the time how good we're doing and how good, and that makes us proud as parents to do so well for them.
Yeah.
Mhm. Is there any plans to have a formal funeral memorial for Colt now that he's been identified?
So I have been told that there is something in the works, that there's going to be something for friends and I guess friends and family, and then one for the public. I think that'll probably ruffle some feathers, but I'll be the one to say it. Jagger has chosen not to go to the family one. I asked him about that. I told him that I would go to the family one out of respect for me and Jagger, for the family. But as far Jagger has asked to go to the public one, Jagger is such a quiet and shy kid. He's very mine and Jesse's kids, and he's not huggy. He's not nothing. So we've talked with him, and I know that it might, like I said, I know it's going to hurt some feelings, but with all this, it's been Jagger's feelings and what makes him feel comfortable. And he feels like there would be less emotion if he went to a public one. So he will be attending that one, but I have not heard dates or anything on that. My only thing that I have asked Vincent to pass along to the family is that I know here in Oklahoma, you can bury on family land and all that. And I have asked for Colt to be buried at a public place to where if Jagger wants to go park and be with his dad, he can go do that. I don't feel like he would do that if it was on like a family land or something like that. But that's really been my only request, is for Jagger to really have somewhere to go park one day. If he wants to go park and be with his dad, he can do that. But I haven't put out a lot of, and it's not just his family hasn't showed effort. I haven't showed effort either. Me and Jagger we've lived life good. So we're not real open to bringing in outsiders. And once life started going for us, we have our people, and that's kind of what we've stuck with for him. It wasn't, I'm close with who I'm close to. And as a person, it's hard for me to connect with people who I'm not close to. So I never push that on Jagger. But it's been about my only request for Jagger, is that he can have that time with his dad if needed.
Well, that's great. Well, it's good to hear, and it's great to see you. It's great to hear from you. We're just enamored with how you've turned your life around from drug addiction to now a doting mom with a thriving business and
Yes.
and a new family and a new husband, and you're doing great. Like I said, I think Colt would be very, very proud on how you raised Jagger, and we appreciate
Absolutely.
you. We really appreciate you. I know this. You said you're going back and forth about being on the podcast, but we really appreciate it, and I think it brings a different perspective. Because you haven't been out there vocal. There's so many people talking about this case as far as online and what they think and what they don't think, and I'm sure you, just from even not looking at it, you probably just from osmosis, you hear about it from other people.
All the time.
Yeah. And so it's constantly surrounding you, and you've been able to really kind of keep yourself insulated from it and live your life and raise Jagger. So we appreciate you, and we appreciate your time.
Absolutely,
Yes,
Cady. It's always
absolutely.
so wonderful to see you.
I've trusted a small bubble, and y'all have always been in my bubble of who I trust since the get-go. So I've
Thank
learned
you.
that people that Paula trusts
Mhm.
are usually good people. So I can follow in her footsteps on that.
Thank you, Cady. Thank you
That
so
means a
much.
lot.
It does mean a lot. And thank you for sharing your story with us, because it is not an easy story. And like I said, my heart just goes to you, because you've been through so much and you're so amazing.
Thank you.
You're an inspiration to others. And I think
I tell people all the time, I've had so many friends over the years come up and ask, how did you did it? How do you do it? How do you keep doing it for my kids? And I know that it's not that easy for other people. Other people have kids, but I am so headstrong that when I told you that when I found out I was pregnant with Jagger like that, that was my chance. And being a mom is the biggest blessing in my life. So I knew and I wanted to raise spoiled kids. I wanted happy kids. I wanted to be able to provide that lifestyle to where my kids get whatever they want. They are respectful kids, but to be able to spoil them and love them and just give them a life to where we get to go and do and vacation and just enjoy each other. I'm so proud of that.
Oh, that's awesome. I love that.
And we're proud of you.
Yes, we are, Cady. We think you're
Thank you.
amazing. Well, stay in touch. We'll talk. We'll talk
I'm
later.
sure the
And-
days to come and everything. So
Yeah, absolutely. This story's not finished yet.
nope, it's not. So, but I feel like we're getting closer to a closing in story. So
Yeah,
that's hopeful.
it is.
It is hopeful.
This podcast is brought to you by Carvana. Selling your car should feel like one less thing on your list, not one more. With Carvana, it is. Just go to Carvana.com, enter your license plate or VIN, and get a real offer down to the penny. No back and forth, no surprises, just an experience you can trust. Like your offer? Accept it. Schedule pickup, and we'll come to you with a check in hand. Your car, your timeline, your terms. Visit Carvana.com to sell your car today.
Carvana.
Delivery fees and terms may apply.